Hello, this is Myra Tanksley, and I am recording this on August the 13th, 2017. I am the proud single mother of a young man that's 24 years old that has high functioning autism. He's a victim, and I am too, of a corrupt government and guardianship system here in Columbus, Ohio, Franklin County, Ohio, um, state of Ohio. He's been abused, neglected, and exploited for a few years now. Uh, they have not allowed him to visit with me since March the 15th, 2015. Even though I have not abused or neglected him, I am actually a registered nurse. I've been an RN, I want to say 31 years now. Um, I'm not on any abuse or neglect registries. If I was, I wouldn't be able to practice nursing. So I have not seen my son in over 2 years or visit him. I seen him July the 8th, 2015, when I knew he was going to see a counselor that was initiated by the U.S. Department of Education because of the Columbus City School District had violated my son's rights, civil rights, when they were throwing him in a seclusion closet. And I filed a complaint not only with the Ohio Department of Education, but the U.S. Department of Education. And that was one of the things that they told the school districts they had to do, was to give him counseling and pay for it. So my son had actually told me um, the days that he was going to counseling, which is every Wednesday. So that Wednesday I happened, and he told me the time, I happened to park in the parking lot across from the rundown, tiny, terrible townhomes. It's in a very crime-ridden, terrible neighborhood, and there's a parking lot across from it. And so I parked and actually see my son July the 8th, 2015, and that is actually on a videotape where you can see how they try to turn my son against me and how he begged me not to leave him. It's a heartbreaking video, but it just shows what human scum this government filth is. They're just, and people wonder why this country, because this is the fall. I think we're at the beginning of the fall of America, because of all the sick racist scum they have in this country. I know North Korea and all of America's outside enemies are probably just jumping for joy at what went on yesterday in Virginia, but it's always been a racially sick country. This country's always been racially sick. And you're just starting to see the fall of America, internally and externally, where this country's going to go down for all the things that it has done to other people outside and inside this country. But getting back to me and my son, so I haven't been allowed to see him, and that's because I'm a whistleblower. I got 3 pages of pure evidence that shows that I'm not full of hot air. It's not just my son's imagination. It's not my imagination, because I have to go in and see these things happening to my son, and I have to hear of them. I have to, know as a mother, this is my child that I'm seeing people abuse, neglect, and treat like worse than I say. Even these inmates get phone calls and visits from their families. But since I'm a whistleblowing mother and an African American mother, this country's very racist. It's been that way since 1776. And I want to say this, I know you got the biggest terrorist group in America, if not on the planet, besides ISIS, is the Ku Klux Klan. They terrorized black people for years. Terrorize means scare, if you know the meaning of the word, and they would terrorize and scare black people if they happen to be black, if they happen to be in the neighborhood, or whatever, for being uppity, N-word. So that is a terrorist group. But the racism is so prevalent in this country. It has been so devastating to minorities and African Americans, because the racism is not just from the extremeness. It's in the courts, it's in law enforcement, it's in the hospital, it's in corporate America. These same people that sit up and go to church every Sunday if they believe in God and smile in your face when you get on the elevator with them. They're the ones that are supporting and practicing racism and benefiting. That's what you hear, the right privilege. Because racism is American culture. It's in everything we do. It's in Hollywood, it's in music, it's in geographic locations, it's in uh, sports. It's in everything that we do. And that's why it's such a devastating and sick um, piece of American culture. But this country's, I believe, we're starting to see the fall of the United States of America. Because I am a Christian, and even though I don't know that much about biblical prophecy, I know that the Bible actually names countries that will be in these biblical prophecy wars, not in the past, but in the future, going against Israel. And, they actually have been identified in their modern names. And you do not see the United States of America, at least I don't. I don't see them in biblical prophecy. They're nowhere around. They're not spoken of in the Bible. Like Russia is definitely, I believe, the king of the north that the Bible talks about in prophecy. Of course, Israel is there. You got Russia. I believe Turkey's going to be there, China, and probably Iran. Um, I don't know too much about North Korea, but the Bible talks about the battle of Magog and some of these, really, really um, almost global wars against Israel. And the United States is nowhere around. So I believe we're beginning to see the fall of America. Trump ain't never been as humiliated as he has ever been in this office. And it hasn't been a year. But, you got this stuff from North Korea happening. And then you always got this dirty, dirty, dirty secret that America has always tried to hide and deny, raising its ugly head. Yesterday was Charlottesville, Virginia, the racism. It's been a very racially sick country, still is. Everybody's in denial about it, that, benefits from it and practices it. And I'm not saying all white people, because there's been white people that have walked civil rights marches. They have acknowledged racism in this country. And they have fought for the civil rights of minorities and black people or African Americans. So I'm not saying all white people, because I'm not that stupid, because you got to be retarded to look at one member of a race and say that person has got to be a degenerate just because they happen to be black. I mean, for you to ignore everything else about them, you're not wrapped too tight. You're sicko. You have a really sick personality to do that. I mean, if you could be a Martin Luther King, and just because you happen to be a black male, or even a black female, but black male, and you're going to just say that person doesn't have no worth to them because they're black, and you can't see that they could be a PhD or intelligent or a Christian or whatever, and all you can try to make them out to be is to be an N-word, you're sick in the head. You need Jesus. And people do that, especially with African Americans, because white people in this country, the racist white people, have portrayed black people so bad in America that you got all that everybody that come over, they think they're better and all that kind of stuff. You see it from Native Africans, you see it from other immigrants. You go to other countries and stuff, and they think, but then they're sick in the head, because anytime you try to define um, a whole race of people, and you can't see the differences in their different behaviors and education and backgrounds and lifestyles, and all you're going to just say that's got to be a, excuse me, nigger because they're black, and you ignore everything else about them, everything else about their character and stuff, you're a sicko. You're in bad shape. So, but anyway, I just had to put that out there, because racism is, I believe, a part of what's I've been going through as a mother, because I always been, they want to break up our family, and I always have been falsely accused of escalating my son. I said, I know they don't tell these white parents that of autistic individuals. Because I have been to autistic boards and threads and message boards. And, autistic people can get very, very, very aggressive, very violent, physical violence, um, verbal aggression, physical aggression. And you could read, people or parents talking about what's going on, and they would discuss just about everything on those message boards, diet, meds, treatments, behaviors, just education, you name it. And, there would be, because my son had never, ever, he does property destruction. He would do property destruction, but he wasn't a autistic that when he got aggressive, that he would hit me or strike me, and he didn't do it to himself. Every blue moon he might hit his forehead with his fist. And only one time he has ever hit me, but that was to try to get me out of the way. When I was standing there with a guy that was telling him um, that he didn't like the guy, and I was trying to explain things to my son, and he just struck out. But other than that, if he hit something, it was usually, property. But I would read on these boards. I mean, it was just, parents saying how their kids would bite them, parents with black eyes, parents with scratches and lacerations and stuff from their loved one, from their son or daughter having a meltdown and just, getting very violent. But they were never accused of, you escalate your son, you escalate your daughter, you're doing this. I said, I know they don't tell the white parents that. When my son started kicking the walls and put a couple holes in the wall, I was blamed for that. But why me? And you're not even blaming these white parents that not only might have property destruction, but they're having physical injuries, or the siblings are having physical injuries. But it's all a racism thing, because a lot of people don't even white people don't know what racism is, because it's actually a negative outcome. Same circumstances, but the person that's a victim of racism is being treated more negatively than somebody that's having the same circumstances but doesn't happen to be that skin color. And it's a systemic thing. That's why I say now the KKK, yeah. But what's really causing, unless some of these people that, and probably some of them might be, you might have a judge just sitting up there at the bench or on the bench and they're a KKK member. They used to do, I mean, that used to happen all the time. You go down south, wherever the judge, the sheriff, the deputy sheriff, the clerk, all of them was members of the KKK, back in the old South, 40s, 50s, 30s, and stuff. But I don't think the KKK is that popular. They don't have that large number of membership. But you really, really have a lot of this racism that is so uh, prevalent in American society, American culture, because of the races that are in corporate America. And when I say corporate America, I'm talking in law enforcement. I'm talking about just your offices, courts, hospitals, um, businesses. That's why you have um, such a devastating um, incidence of racism. There's these white people that you'll see out every day, or if you go to where they work, you see them. They go to church and stuff. They're just as racist as they can be, or they're benefiting from racism, or they won't speak out about it. So, um, as a black mother or African American mother, I've been told that many times. You're escalating your son. I said, no. I said, these idiots don't even know what racism is. I said, but he vents to me, not because of me, because he's been mistreated by so many people that don't know anything about autism, that think that I said, he's not misbehaving. I have people say, oh, he's misbehaving. acting out. I said, no, he's doing what he's doing because you. How about your environment and your staff got him in sensory overload, or you done traumatize him and terrorize him so much, restraining him or putting him in a seclusion closet, or you got it too noisy. How about that? And I don't mind my son venting to me. And if you idiots know anything about autism, could you just maybe think that he's not going to be quiet and calm when he's telling me to bring him home, take him home, and how much he misses me, and how much, he loves me, and he wanted to be with the one person that understands him and loves him, because they try to treat him like he's some kind of animal, like he don't have no feelings and stuff. And I said, I have yet to see anybody know how to really work with him. And I'm talking about hospitals too. I had to tell a couple of nurses, I said, thanks a lot. You just set off my son. Thanks for triggering him. You don't approach an autistic patient like that. And then they hate you. Like, who are you as a black person coming here and tell me this? Who you think you are? Because we supposed to be where we supposed to hang our head and hang our lip and keep our mouth quiet. Don't you be too assertive or no, I'm just being an advocate for my son. And that's the reason why I'm not allowed to have any contact with him. But it's too late. I got 3 pages that I'll tell you about later on that shows that I'm not full of hot air. Ain't none of that scum, and I'm talking about the scum that practices injustice. Because when the Bible talks about injustice, and there's a lot that God says about injustice and how he's against it and what he's going to do about it. He ain't talking about the average Joe on the street. He's talking about all these judges, this sick, racist scum judges and lawyers and court investigators, because I got a few of them in my life. Every one of them racist, and all of them scum, and they practice injustice. Because I remember when I was telling that court investor about the problem with America, because everybody's in denial, he slammed the thing down, because they don't want to hear nothing like that, but that's what they are. And they'll have to answer to God. I said, now he could be going to church every Sunday, but he's going to bust hell wide open. And he's going to see this country, because if God can deal with Trump and the White House and federal government, he can deal with these little idiots that are in these local governments. But this country's going down. You're seeing the fall of America. But he slammed that book down or something. When I was talking, I could hear him slam it down because he didn't want to hear it. But ain't nobody going to accuse me of slander, because it ain't slander when it's true. And that's why I do it. I like to roll with my evidence. If I put it out there, there's evidence. And Aaron Sanford, Heidi Hughes, Mike D. Snow, Rob Capaldi, Robert Montgomery, Ron O'Brien, or whatever, any of that government trash and attorneys ain't going to come at me with nothing. Because there was a law firm that the Attorney General, Mike DeWine, the state of Ohio Attorney General, they come up there hiring a law firm in Akron. Because with the greed and incompetence, because it's about as bad as the corruption, they were saying that I owe $2,000 when they illegally committed my son over at a state of Ohio ran operated developmental center. And this law firm up in Akron, even God tripped them up, because God will trip up your enemies. I seen him do that so many times I can't remember all the times God's done that. They had put down Ohio Department of Mental Health when it was supposed to be an Ohio Department of Developmental Disability. But they were sending these threatening letters and stuff, and I called them. And the last time I called them, I got their office manager. At least that's what she said she was. Well, I've been wanting to talk to her. I said, don't waste your pen, your paper, your printer, your envelopes, your stamp. I said, because I'm not going to pay the state of Ohio half of a copper penny. I said, but you lawyers need to learn the facts of your cases. I said, so, the intimidating letters mean nothing. I said, because I don't pay people money for abusing and neglecting and exploiting my son. I said, and furthermore, he didn't ask to be over there. And they went ahead and illegally, the county had corrupt probate court. And I mean, that court is corrupt as it can be. It's awful. But all of these people are corrupt and rotten. They actually filed they abused their power in court and stuff, filed a motion to have him illegally committed over there. And it's illegal because Marquis is not moderately retarded. And that's the Ohio Revised, even their own state law says you have to be moderately retarded. My son's high functioning autistic. He's not moderately retarded. And the state of Ohio kept him over there for the money for almost, I want to say almost, well, it was 2 years. But anyway, I said, so he was illegally committed over there. I said, but ain't no parent should see what I have had to see as a mother. That's why I said I'm a victim in this thing. And I said, I'm not worried about North Korea or no bombs because I'm a Christian. I know God will take care of me and anybody else that's in His will or any other Christian person. God is in control. And I said, I'm not surprised about it. I said, because there ain't nothing that Jesus mentioned in on the Mount of Olive that ain't gonna come true. I said, this country's been, I mean, it's just been so wicked and so hypocritical with in God we trust and all this kind of stuff and everything. And the things that they have done in this country and how they had ignored God's laws and designs, with racism and how marriage is supposed to be done by God's design. So I said, I'm not surprised at all. But I believe this is the beginning of the fall of the United States of America. Don't know how long it's going to take because I'm not God. The times are not in my hand, but I believe this is just a start. That's why Trump got in there and stuff, and it's not going to be this superpower United States of America. Them days are over. But so when, I told them that, they never sent me another letter. I said, because I'm not going to pay them half of a copper penny. I said, how would you like to go in there? That's what I told the lady. And see the things that I have seen on my son. And I said, and I'm going to refer you, because at that time I only had 2 pages. I didn't have that audio tape page. I had just the justice page and the abuse and neglect page. I said, I'm going to refer you to those 2 pages to let you know I ain't full of hot air. I said, the way I had to come in there. And I said, I don't know why people think, what, because I'm an African-American mother, I can't love my child as much as a white mother does. I mean, what is the retardedness, about that? I love my son just as much as they love their kids. But what, I'm supposed to just hang my head down and forget all about my son and walk away and like it's A-okay? But racism will make you sick. I mean, that's some of the most sickest people in the world, people that are racist. Because anytime that you could just say, this whole race is messed up. And like I said, you could be a Martin Luther King, you could be a Harriet Tubman, you could be any great man or woman of character, and you could be a mother to anything, and all they can still see you as an N word. You're sick in the head. You really need some help, and you don't know how many people are like that in this country. And then then they want to pass the victim because I know I'm not racist and stuff because I give people money. That's white, homeless. I did it to 2 white homeless guys that were standing on the corner, but that's because I'm a Christian. I said, Jesus loves you. This is because of Jesus. I bought a white lady, an older white lady, over $66 worth of groceries. Didn't know her. She was a stranger, but the Lord told me to do it. And I don't look at all white people as the same. I just know that as far as racism is concerned, they are the people in power to impose the race. And it's always negative. Because I would be just as sick as they are if I seen all white people the same way, like they see all black people. But racist people, you could be a registered nurse and stuff. You're black, they still want to see you as somebody that's subservient, that's not as smart, that shouldn't even be in that position. Your position, and they make you out to be, even though it's false, the way they want you to be. That's a bitter pill for them to swallow. That's why they had such a big problem with Obama. Because he's not supposed to be in that office. He's not supposed to be president. But a lot of people don't even know what it means. You have to be able to have ism means systemic, and it has to be a system. and you have to be able to have the power to oppose your race on another race. And it's 99.99% negative. And then they try to talk about black people. I said, well, the black people are just responding to the racist conditions. This Black Lives Matter, I said, people don't even understand what that means. Because they're saying it doesn't seem like Black Lives Matter when you got all these African American males being shot down like dogs and stuff. And police officer, and I got nothing against law enforcement. I got a brother that's in law enforcement. And I have had a few police officers that have had interactions with my son and me that were pretty decent. So I can't knock all of them. But, when you've seen all these African American males shot down, like dogs and stuff, you just obviously, their lives ain't worth as much as a white male, I mean, that's what that means, that's in response, to the conditions that blacks have had to live under in this country. I said, 'cause black people never went around with no black capes and hats and lynch white people and all that kind of stuff. I said, but I don't get, to me, I don't care about denials. I expect denials. I said, because really you can't get rid of racist thoughts and attitudes after it's been taught, because a baby ain't born. A baby doesn't even know what skin color it is. It's not born recognizing skin color. It doesn't know its gender. It doesn't know its race. So all of that's taught. But once it's taught and it's in that heart, it's going to take Jesus. That's the only person that can rectify that, get rid of that, move that poison out of a racist person's heart and mind. Only Jesus can do that. Laws can't do it. That's the reason why your civil rights laws, you still got these people marching like yesterday, people still, doing racial crimes and everything else. You cannot fix it with laws. You can only fix it with Jesus. And it's a sad thing because, like I said, these corporate American racists that work in corporate America in the different areas of employment and whatever, and they probably go to church, might call themselves Southern Baptists or Christians or whatever stuff. It's a sad thing because it's going to keep them out of heaven. You cannot be hating. And God specifically talks about that in the book of 1 John, not in the Gospel of John, the book of 1 John. And God said, you can go to church every Sunday. You can't say you love me, who you have not seen, and hate your brother who you have seen. For all the so-called Christians that go to church every Sunday. As far as God's concerned, if you got that hate in your heart for somebody that got a different skin tone than you have, and you hate them, he said there ain't no way in the world you could say you love him. 1 John. Forgot what chapter, but it's in there. And 1 John is not a real large book anyway. It doesn't have a lot of chapters in it. So anyway, that's why I say what I say about the racism thing. I said, because I know they ain't telling, like that one lady, and the Lord dealt with her, because I think she had bad intentions, and something she opened up got closed down within a year. And her son was same circumstances. When he hit puberty, like my son does, and a lot of teens with autism do, when they hit puberty, the hormones and all of that just makes, things worse. It's hard for them to handle the hormones. And, the aggression can get more severe. Well, her son was doing all kinds. They couldn't keep him at home. And you could read message boards and threads from autistic parents. We couldn't keep him at home, and they seek residential treatment and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't tell her, as a white mother, you're escalating your son. There's another lady that I have became friends with, and I think she has twins. and child corruption services, and that's what I call them, child neglection services, because they went ahead and accused me of um, escalating my son and stuff. Well, they went ahead and her. She had two sons, and both of them were very, very aggressive. Did property damage, and also was hitting on her and their sister, their sibling. But they went ahead and took custody, but allowed them boys to stay right there with her, and they never said to her, "You're escalating. You're the cause of this." But they called. They like I said, they said I was the cause of my son um, being aggressive. That I would escalate him. So though ain't nobody gonna tell me about racism, I said I don't care who don't deny it, who don't like what I'm saying and stuff. I said, but one thing for sure, you can't fool me with your denial, and you sure ain't fooling God. That's why I said God will have the final say in everything. Because God knows what this country's been about. And He's the seen, how this country and every other country. Because one thing about the United States of America is very arrogant. And God hates a prideful anything. Because He's in control. And this superpower thing, I said, them days is over. And I said, what I'm seeing, what I believe I'm seeing, is the start of the fall of this country. And it can happen externally and can actually happen internally. And this racist thing has been something that the United States has always tried to sweep up under the rug. That happened 200 years ago, and God's been keeping it front and center. And just like this mess yesterday in Virginia. And, house divided against itself cannot stand. So you're seeing the start of the fall of America. And it's kind of embarrassing because I know North Korea and China and Russia and all of them looking at them, they talk about taking care of, they can't even take care of their own. But that stuff been going, it's always been in this society since the beginning of this country, since July the 4th, 1776. Because you can deny all you want and stuff, but God has already said this stuff is going to happen. And the Mount of Olive discourse, or the Mount Olivet discourse, is in every gospel except for John. And when Jesus sat on that mount and answered the questions of those disciples, every bit of it's going to come true. Every bit of it. And I will keep on saying that I believe, as far as the way they have treated me as a mother, is because of racism. My son, I believe, is racism, ignorance, and greed. Because, Aaron Sanford, and this woman ain't nothing but a witch. And I even have had 2 white females tell me about her, how terrible she is. And then a white male that signed himself anonymous, he wrote a comment and mentioned, how this woman doesn't get back to people. And then the other ones, the white female, says she lies and she destroys families and everything. But she's just a witch. And she ain't going to say nothing to me about slandering her or anything like that, because I got audio videos that proves what a liar she is. And then the sad thing about everything, excuse me, I got to blow my nose, is that, all the people that are in that system is corrupt. Because you go like, oh yeah, now I can report this to the lawyer's bar, or which is the Ohio Supreme Court Disciplinary Council. Now they're supposed to be, but there's really no oversight. Just like there's no oversight with the staff members. Because I went and I go past there a lot, where I know where they have my son at right now. And you wouldn't believe, the gate, because the neighborhood is so bad, they have a black metal gate that's supposed to stay locked, but it's wide open. The windows are wide open. Not the windows, but the doors. Sometimes the windows, but most of the doors. And I said, just think of all the insects that are flying around inside. And it's a little tiny Section 8 townhome type type of thing, because all the townhomes, they're all built like the one my son lives in. No room, no privacy, but they keep them doors wide open. Now, that's supposed to be the resident's resident. And I know my son don't like to have doors open. I don't. I don't even like to really be out in picnics and stuff because I just don't like a whole lot of flying insects, you know. And that's what he lives in, and or so-called lives in. But he has no privacy. He has no quality of life. He just sits up in that little rundown, tiny, noisy neighborhood, terrible crime-ridden neighborhood, townhome. He doesn't get to watch cable TV. He doesn't get to listen to music. He doesn't have his family life where he can spend time with his mother and do things with his mother. He doesn't get to watch sports. He doesn't get to participate in sports. He doesn't get the kind of things that he likes to eat. He's not fed hardly any food. Most of the time the food is low, or he gets fed once a day. Then one time he told me he wasn't really all that hungry and stuff. And I said, well, when you get back home, will you eat 3 meals a day? Like, yeah. I said, so, you know, it's probably that he done got accustomed to not to bother the staff, which is always new people. Every time I drive past there, I never see the same person. It's always different people that don't know anything about autism. They're there for the money. You know, they don't have no kind of training. I said, even these idiots that are supposed to know about um, developmental disabilities or autism don't even know anything about it. But he has no quality of life. Only thing he does is go to that counseling initiated by the U.S. Department of Education every Wednesday, and then they let his skin get so bad. But he said the psoriasis is gone. I said, thank you. That's Jesus. That's Jesus. But it still itches. So he goes and get light treatment every Tuesday and Thursday. But he has no family life. He doesn't get to do none of his hobbies. My son, I said, what do they think he is? Some inanimate object, a kitchen table without feelings? You know, because I got all his stuff here that he likes. He's got a lot of different things he likes to collect and play with. You know, he likes a special channel on um, cable TV. He's got music that he likes to listen to. He's got all kind of different hobbies and things he likes to collect. He likes to watch and play sports. He loves me. He misses me. He wants to spend time with me. He has no family life. And I said, you know, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And he sure ain't had no justice, because my son been assaulted. I've seen that with my own eyes. And that's why I said, they can't do nothing with me, because I got all the evidence. I said, these people ain't nothing but human filth. Every last one of them, directly and indirectly, from Governor John Kasich on down, to allow just my son. And you know it's happening to other, you know, people that are in that system. Are there DDs or developmentally disabled residents in that system? But just take him. Just take his case. All the evidence that I said they turn their head, and that's why I look at that scum. That's why that mess with the Ohio State Fair happens. So I said they're going to have to pay some money out of that. Because when you do wrong and get greedy, while you're allowing other people, or you are indirectly abusing, neglecting, exploiting people, God will let somebody hit you in a different way. And you wonder why things happen and stuff. Because God will go ahead and let that stuff come right on back around to you. The Lord said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. And he could use a lot of ways to repay. A lot of ways. He can go through people and circumstances, or he can just go zap, and that's it. But these people are just human filth, from the governor on down. And they have let my son and allow him to live like an animal, taking all his rights away. I said, he got a right to have, you know, family. And that's the reason why I feel the way I am. I said, I'm a victim in this too. Because I haven't abused or neglected my son. You think I could practice nursing? And I've been RN since 1987 when I got my license. 86, I came out of school. I wouldn't be able to practice nursing if I was an abuser. I'd be on a registry, you know, for abuse or neglect, And so, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a victim in this thing as a mother. So, me and Marquise don't have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and justice. That's a basic God given right. And that's why, and I have already seen a vision about how it's going to turn out. Because Lord let me know it's handled. You just stay faithful. I'll handle them people. Because God has, like He has designed, He made man, He designed woman, He designed marriage. But He also designed the family. And for a loving, wonderful young man, disabled or not to be able to spend time and see his own mother, I said, no wonder this country's going to go down. God has taken His hand off of this country. And for a loving mother that hasn't abused or neglected, there's no dysfunction in our family. I said, but I ain't going to keep quiet about it. I am a whistleblower. And not to be able to see our own son. And that's why I said, I won't stand up for the flag. I won't stand up for it. I don't no pledge of allegiance. I said, because it ain't true. And I'm middle-aged now. And I'm just not going to stand up there and say a bunch of, baloney. It ain't no life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and justice for all. And it wasn't that way when it first, July the 4th, 1776? Can I hear slaves? It wasn't that way when this country was first created. It's never been life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and justice for all. And I ain't going to pretend like it's been. But especially when it hits home, personally, I said, my son can't even see his own mother. I said, that's how sick and retarded these people are. So let this country go on down. I said, because I'm not going to join ISIS. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian, stuff like that. But this stuff with North Korea, and then this racial thing, it's always been there and stuff. Ain't none of it surprise to me. I said, because the time is coming when that stuff's going to happen. It's not going to just be United States of America. You can read the Bible. And I'm not judging. I'm just going by what the Bible tells us. But you can read the Bible and you can see the predictions and the prophecies. Nation will rise against nation. So it ain't just the United States. But why these Americans, these arrogant Americans think that this is not going to touch America. America has been a very hypocritical and racially sick country. And when I say hypocritical, in God we trust and stuff. No, you don't trust in God. And everybody in denial, They know it's Black Lives Matter or it's black people that's racist. I said, black people ain't doing nothing but reacting to the circumstances. And putting two and two together, I said, because racism is not hard to understand. But you wouldn't believe how many people don't even know what it means. You wouldn't believe it. But with this particular audio video, because what I'm doing, and let me mention these 3 pages before I run out of time. The 3 pages on Facebook is Justice for Autistic Marquis Tanksley. The second one is the abuse and neglect of autistic Marquis Tanksley by the government. And the third one is the audio tapes of Marquis Tanksley, his suffering, abuse, and neglect. And that's what this is going on. And, because they have always, with their racial hatred and sickness, they have always tried to separate me and Marquis. And they have been doing it physically, but they're not going to never do it emotionally. And like I said, last time he was allowed to call me was the day before Mother's Day. He said, I ain't heard from you in 5 months, and happy Mother's Day. And I'm not going to walk away. I said, that trash, racial, sick trash, Aaron Sanford, and the rest of them, I said, they got to be crazy. Think I'm going to just say, oh, well, you got my son and go on with my life. That's part of my life. That's my child. And I love him just as much as you do, but they don't talk to me. They ain't going to sit up across the table for me because all they're going to do is get their feelings hurt. And I'll just tell them, just get on out of my face. And I don't want to sit across, because to me, these people are human garbage. I ain't saying that they can't get saved, because Jesus died for them too. And but they have to stop what they're doing and repent. But right now, they're human garbage. I said, because you, these people to me are no better than a criminal out in the street. I said, because anytime you make a living and take money on the behalf of somebody, because they get their SSI checks and everything. I'm talking about that witch Sanford now, and you get federal funds, and you allow somebody that you get money for to live like an animal. You are worse than any of these people out on the street to me. So to me, it would be just like me sitting up there with human garbage. I can respect an inmate in prison more than I can Sanford, Mike DeWine, Kasich, and stuff, because that's what they're doing. They get money. And the federal government ain't that much better. But this tape is from February the 29th, 2012. And Marquis was at Columbus Developmental Center. It's the state of Ohio um, intermediate care facility for the mentally retarded. And he was illegally committed there, and then he was there voluntarily. So voluntarily, I had him there for 47 days while they were modifying the walls in our house. But he was um, uh, abused and neglected. Excuse me. I think I'm catching a cold. And always has loved me very much, still does, very bonded, very close to me. And, they have always, like I said, wanted to keep us apart, to try to destroy our family bond, put a wedge. The escalating, you escalate your son was a fantasy of theirs. They always wanted to try to make it seem that my son um, couldn't stand me, that when he was around me, it upset him and stuff. And I said, no, because Marquis is high functioning. He's verbal. And I said, I'm going to let Marquis, because I taped it. I taped them, and I taped him. And I said, I'm going to let people hear his suffering, how he feels. Hear it from Marquis's own mouth, in his own words, how much he loves his mom, and how much he wanted to come home, and how he would describe abuse and neglect to me, too. Excuse me. And like I told him that one meeting and stuff. Well, if Marquis did, I said, well, wait a minute. I said, don't insult my intelligence. I said, my son don't have to tell me that he's been abused and neglected. I can come in there and see all the unexplained new injuries and scars. I can see the neglect where you wouldn't even help him keep his hair together. It's matted, full of dirt and dandruff. I can see all the unexplained, scars and the clothes that I brought up there. You never would have them wearing because your staff would steal it. People had clothes on that were passed down in a facility. A couple of times he had on underpants that didn't belong to him. It had HM, different initials and stuff. And I said, well, what happened to why ain't he wearing the clothes that I brought up here? They got mad about that because these people are used to having no oversight. That's why Ron Capaldi and Mike Snow are just pieces of human filth. Because there ain't no oversight. And they turn their head while these residents are abused and neglected by their staff. And that's why I said these people ain't no better than criminals. And I'll tell them to their face. Get out of my face, you filth. Just get your nasty self out of my face. That's what I would tell them. And so I told him at the meeting, I said, well, he don't have to tell me he's being abused and neglected. When I come in there and look and visit my son, I can see he's being abused and neglected. I said, he doesn't have to tell me that. And they don't like that. But, and like I said, from the top, from Governor Kasich, and I'm going to throw the federal government in there too, because I contacted them. But you all turn your head because you're filth. You're human filth. that work in these government jobs and racist and all this kind of stuff. But see, if I was a white mother, I would never been told that you're escalating your son, and I probably would have. We wouldn't be in this situation now. But they treat black people different. Like your life don't, his life ain't worth it, and your motherhood ain't worth it as a black woman, as a black mother. And I don't give a darn who disagrees with me or deny it. I expect for you to deny it because y'all racist people are sick in the head. A racist person, unless God or Jesus changed your heart, ain't gonna never be able to get to the truth. They can't step to the truth. Just like corrupt people. Corrupt people are dishonest. All they're going to do is deny it and try to sweep it under the rug. So I don't give a darn who doesn't believe me or want to deny it and stuff. But that's the reason why my son, is part of the reason why he's being treated the way he is. And that is the reason why I'm being treated that way. If I was a white mother and some Marquis would be back home with me, and I would never have heard that. You escalate your son. You escalate your son. Because, see, what they want to do is make me an unfit mother because I'm black. Never mind that I'm intelligent. Never mind that I'm a registered nurse. When people are racist, they're going to make you out and falsely accuse you and falsely make you out to what they want you to be. They ain't going to recognize your true content. And that's what Martin Luther King was saying. Well, I hope one day people ain't just looking at the color of my four children's skin, but judge them by the content of their character. But racist people can't do that. They're too sick in the head. All they could do is, and all they will do is say that you're something that is derogatory and that you're a nigger. They can't see you for who you truly are. And that's sick. That's real, real sick. And only Jesus or God can deal with that. And Jesus is God in the flesh. So without further ado, you will hear my son tell me how much he misses me. He hates missing me. And then later on, you will hear the staff get to aggravating him. Because, he would be talking to me on the phone. And, of course, they're all in the background making noise. And, and the environment is too noisy. And he wants to be at home with me and stuff, and they would do things that would aggravate him in the background, either talking or laughing or it's too loud, and then they sometimes would go and actually interrupt him, and my son hated that. And you would hear him tell them several times, shut up, I'm talking to my mom. Now remember, he's autistic now, and he would tell him, shut up, I'm talking to my mom on the phone and stuff. So all that did was just aggravate him more and more. But, I said, I'm going to put these audio videos out. And this one is on, not a micro cassette, but like a regular cassette. So it's a little bit clearer. And I'm still in 2012. I got tapes from 2013 that you'll hear my son talking about abuse and neglect from the staff, how much he misses me and loves me and wants to come back home and his hobbies. I got tapes all the way up to 2016, and I'm still in 2012 because I'm just doing the numerical thing. So, February or March 2013, you start hearing these tapes on a voice recorder on a smartphone, and it'll be a lot clearer. But this one is clear because it's not a micro cassette. It's like the regular size cassette, so you'll be able to hear it pretty clear. But I said, I'm going to let Marquis speak in his own words and describe his feelings. I said, that trash, that racist trash is not going to be able to speak for my son. And I vow that, and these Facebook pages ain't going no place. God will have to tell me. Jesus will have to tell me, Myra, take them down. But he told me it's a time for exposure. He said, you stay faithful. I got a handle. Because he let me know that he was very, very unhappy with the way Belinky, that's an attorney that all of a sudden he fell out dead at home, and the Lord let me know, maybe get a newspaper to see his name in obituaries. But when I was talking to him on the phone, I knew God was going to punish him because the man was very arrogant, and it's bad enough when you are corrupt, but to brag about being corrupt, And God, within a year, he was dead and gone. So God is in control. Uh, just like this stuff with the United States of America, it's gonna happen the way God, the timing, because nobody knows God's timing. Because God will tell us things are going to happen, but He never, sometimes don't. Most of the time, He doesn't give us dates or years. And the Bible said one day is like 1,000 years to God. 1,000 years is like one day. But like this stuff that's supposed to happen to America, ain't nothing Trump and them could do. Ain't nothing nobody can do. I don't care what office you in, what race you are, what gender, stuff. It's gonna be the way God says it's gonna be. But this country's just been so hypocritical and so racially sick, that those things come into the balance where it has to just come. But anyway, let me go ahead and let you listen to this, and that'll be it. Here we go. And see, you can hear him say, "Shut up," to the staff, and I'm not finished talking to my mom, or I don't want him talking to me when I'm talking to you on the phone. He had no privacy. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I said, and I had a conversation with him because I told my son, I said, put him on the phone. And I told him, I said, you just escalated him. I said, you just don't do that, you know, and let me calm him down. And it takes time. I said, I can't calm him down in 2 sentences. I said, but what you did escalated the situation. It doesn't sound like I am a mother that's hated by my son, does it? Because he would look to vent to me. He looked to me for comfort. He enjoyed talking to me. He looked forward to it. I'm all that he has. And then they try to take that away. But I'm looking forward to Marquis coming back home. And I hate to say it, seeing some punishment too. I said, that's a terrible, sinful thing to take a child away from his mother. Or even, a mother away from his child. But it's just, I'm really expecting God to really, like He showed me how He dealt with Belenky. That's a great, great sin because God designed the family. So there you have it. I got to get off of here before it won't upload. But if you listen to it, you hear him just say, I miss you. I'm tired of missing you. I'm missing you. Because I want to see your face. And then later on, he tells them, get away. Stop. I want to talk to my mom. Don't let me finish talking to my mom. So you can see how bonded and how much he loves his mother. More audio tapes to come of my son's suffering, abuse, and neglect. Because he's done already lived it. I done already live it. We're still living it. And it's going to be out there. I'm just exposing all that human filth in the government, all that human scum, and the witch, Erin Sanford, because that's what she is. She's a dirty, low-down witch. So I am exposing it for what it is. And I love you, Marquis. Hang on in there. Jesus got this. He's got everything handled. I'm looking forward to you coming back home. Jesus' way, Jesus' time. And that's it. Thank you for listening.